Welcome to Backstage Academy Live Events Together. I'm Chris Madden, Backstage Academy's Student Wellbeing Officer and a registered counselling psychotherapist. In this series of 4 short films, we're exploring the impact of coronavirus on the live events industries and higher education from the context of mental health. In this 4th episode, the panelists explore the question, do you think you will do things differently after COVID-19? I've got a surprise question, and it's a final one, so this is about just kind of digging in and being intuitive. Through this experience and whenever we're going to come out the other side of it, do you think you will do things differently to how you have been before? Eric?
That's a good question. I was hoping you were going to ask me last so I could have more time to think. Yes is the answer. I think I almost feel like just personally, I almost feel like I'd be foolish to not, It's like, I believe in seasons for things, and it's important that you kind of respond, I think, or one responds to the rhythms of those things and the lessons in them. And there's a danger that if you try and live the same way all the time, they actually don't get the benefit of that particular season, and it becomes a real frustration, right? So approaching it, things that might feel like obstacles and barriers, like people that I can't see or things that I can't do, to where are the opportunities. So the things like actually being more disciplined around some of those rhythms, like whether it be like that family meal, actually, do you know what, maybe I'm just going to have to be a little bit more brutal with some of my meetings and say, actually, I need to be there. I need to be back home always at that time if I can. And it's just an exception if I'm not there. There's some things which are like that in my life already, but certainly not all. I mean, similar to Adam mentioned about playing instruments and music being therapeutic, and I've played the piano every day, which I hadn't done in years, and I absolutely love it. So that's back and that's here to stay. I've just got to find some way to do it.
What about you, Rachel?
I think for me, I am absolutely dreadful at if I get invited to do something by, connect with a friend or go to a meeting, something. I am dreadful at kind of going, I've got this project or changing plans or putting them off. And actually, it's made me really aware of actually how important that is to me. Not having it, being in a situation where it's not as easy as it would have been. So I'll probably look after that a little bit more and maybe prioritise that a little bit more in everything that I do kind of moving forwards. Because actually what it's taught me is that when situations change quite radically, how much you then do rely on that connection later on and how valuable that is to you. So that's been really useful.
Brilliant, thank you. Adam?
Yeah, I think in terms of travelling, I mean, I only travelled 3 times a week to go into the city to work. And I'd definitely like to stop some of that. So when, I'm still, I guess, renting a room in central town, but I think when we regain entry back into that, I think I will. I think I'll slow it down. I think the travel, it's made me realise being stuck on the tube, and I really felt it when the whole thing was kind of coming to the surface and everyone was paranoid. It made me think about it then, thinking I really don't enjoy this part of my day, and sometimes it's like an hour and a half travelling either side, being squashed in. And this has made me realise, it's not the same. I don't feel that the online therapeutic experience is the same, but I think with certain clients it works okay. So that's definitely made me rethink, do I need to be going into town as much? So I will stop that. I think it's definitely giving insight into that.
Great. Thank you all. What about me? A little bit like Adam, actually. This is week 6 for me. So I was, myself and my daughter both had some really, really mild symptoms, and then a a week or so later, so did my wife, and my wife still hasn't recovered her sense of smell or taste yet. So that's been kind of 5 weeks. So this is 6 weeks for us. I mean, next week we'll be heading into week 7, I think. I mean, I don't know. I've lost all sense of time. Yeah. But because I've been isolated, obviously, I've not been seeing clients face to face, like you, Adam. So I've not been traveling either to Backstage Academy. I've not been traveling up to my private practice in Leeds, and just to give context to that, where I live in South Yorkshire, and so it's a 40-mile round trip to go to private practice in Leeds. I have found that I've really enjoyed working online with clients. Some clients didn't want to do that, and I would say the majority of clients didn't want to work that way. And yet, I found in the last couple of weeks, those clients who didn't want to work that way have decided that they want some sort of therapeutic connection, and so they have contacted me, and we've done this kind of thing, or we've done it via the telephone. So that's really made me question. I've really enjoyed working from home. I like being at home. Probably not to the locked down extent that I am with 3 other people all the time. But they've gone out now. They've gone out for, they're all out for a walk, and so the house is quiet, and that's quite nice. So what am I going to change? I'm really thinking about what the future of working this way might mean. And so that's something. And yet, I love face-to-face, person-to-person therapeutic connection. So that's not something that I'd want to give up. So maybe it's a case of that I'm going to really rethink that. Also, communicating with my friends a little bit more. My friends are sort of spread out across the world, and on a Sunday evening for the last 6 weeks, we've been getting together and in doing this. 8 of us. We call it the Corona Bar. Maybe a little bit dark and existential there, but we get together. So there's a guy who rings in from Seattle who's a therapist who I don't know whether Johnny Cragg, Adam. He was in a band called Space Hog. Okay, so he's one of my old mates. He is a practicing psychotherapist over there. So he dials in at
Great
1 o'clock Seattle time. My friend Bob, who's a merchandiser in San Francisco, he dials in from 1 p.m. and the rest of us London and Yorkshire are sat around having a drink, sharing stuff. And last week was interesting because I think that we started to get down to some of the stuff which was sharing our mental health stuff. And so I'd go back to something that you said earlier on, Eric. I'd really encourage people to know that it's okay to talk. I think that it's okay to be feeling anxious. I think it's okay to be having a really confused set of emotional responses, because this is a really, really unique experience. And for me, talking more with my friends on a more regular basis is really good. So more of that, I think.
Could I ask the panel, do you think there's a sense that people are valuing their ability or the instruction that they've got to go for a walk, to go and have some physical exercise more, because it feels like, in lockdown it's a bit more of a precious commodity? And do you think we should be making more space for that in our working lives moving forward? And do you see that as being a change perhaps in both our working lives and in our own personal approach? Do you think that will change?
Definitely. I mean, people that we're speaking to are talking about the value of that, and like I said, it's you've got an opportunity, for want of a better word, within what is a challenging time, but how we engage in that really affects our mood, and seeing things as an opportunity. I'm definitely hearing people really appreciate it. Baking's taken off everywhere, it seems like. I mean, there's so many people I know who are baking at the moment. It's phenomenal. That's another one.
Yeah, I think that slow pace of life has really helped us anyway, my family and the surrounds, to reevaluate that as well. Just being forced to pause. It's like anything, when we start to look around and we think, oh wow, well, there's a whole amazing woodland or forest that's right near us we've never even known, and discovering all these walks, we've learned loads about that. And I think so, yeah, I'd like to try and think we'd carry that forward. I'm very aware also, as things get moving, we start to prioritize less, and those things slip. But I'd like to think, especially we've been really lucky that we live in an area where there's so many footpaths and access to great woodlands. So hopefully.
I think it'll be a business by business thing, where people will either buy into the notion of a responsibility to the well-being and mental health of the people who work there, their immediate communities. So I think the onus will really be on organisations. How that will work out, I think, is really unclear, because we just don't know how long this is going to go on. So it may be that, unfortunately, mental health might slightly disappear, because there may be more pressing concerns that keeping an organisation afloat might take precedent. I hope that certainly my experience from speaking to my clinical supervisor over these last few weeks in remote supervision has been that his belief is, and of course we're now seeing it, and I've been seeing it for the last 2 or 3 weeks, being a news story, is the effect upon whole scale mental health right across society. I mean, I can't talk about the Americas. I can only purely talk about what's been reported about what's happening here in the UK. I really hope that this is an opportunity for us as a society to press a bit of a reset button, and to do those things that that Adam is talking about. One of my experiences has been, in terms of slowing things down, is watching the apple blossom tree in my garden every day. Of course I notice it, but I only used to notice it every few days. I notice it now every day, because I come and sit at my desk in my office and I look at and I see the blossom in a unique way. I hope that at organisational levels it starts to become a thing where we acknowledge that perhaps we can operate in different ways. I really hope that there's a bit of a hit in the reset button. This gives us an opportunity to do that, and it's for individual organisations to choose whether they buy into that notion or to not buy into it. But I think across our community, across our sector, across our industries, I think that, and Adam, when Adam and I first met, we talked about this growing dialogue across the music industries and the creative industries that has been going on for a number of years, but has really sort of picked up speed. And now some of the things that music support are doing in training people in mental health. I know that within Rachel, our shared sector in higher education, it's a dominant feature, and so actually the stuff that's dominant there can be replicated and can be bought into, for ourselves and our own well-being as teams.